Duperos y Duperas, today on Doop by the River, we are getting very close to the start of another Union season. We're going to talk about the stadium situation that is going on down in Chester. We got some dates for the beginning of our MLS season this year. We got a little extension here with one of our young players here in Philadelphia. We had Union preseason as well. We're going to dive into a lot of MLS news and notes, and we're going to also give you guys the platform as well. And don't go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. And let's get this started, guys. Dale! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this on live, whether you're coming from my YouTube channel, El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel, or if you're coming from the Doop by the River podcast Twitter account. Thank you so much for coming there as well. Just a quick reminder, guys, if you want to rewatch this entirety, you're a little busy right now, this will be up on my YouTube channel, El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel, so make sure if you don't have time, check it out a little later. Leave a little like, a little comment, subscription as well would be very much appreciated. Make sure you're also following to the Doop by the River podcast on Twitter. Everything Philadelphia will keep you up to date on that Twitter account. Of course, guys, don't forget, if you would prefer to listen to this, which we completely understand here, this will be on the Doop by the River podcast account and the PSN radio account wherever you listen to podcasts, from Spotify, Apple, Google. We have it all on there for you guys. With that all out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I have to introduce to you my co-host for tonight. My man, he's going by Mr. Stuart Baldley tonight, a.k.a. Mr. Justin Freiberg. Justin, what is going on tonight?
As I always say, can't complain. This past week, I took the next big step in adulting and secured a apartment.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the next big step here on the life track that we call adulting. So I move in mid-June. So
okay.
I'm excited.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's a big step, but I'm ready.
Absolutely. You're like the right now, you're like the Philadelphia Union in 2018, man. You're slowly making those big steps, and soon enough, you're going to get your supporter shield as well, man. I absolutely love it.
I get my big money move to Europe too?
Soon enough, man. I don't know if I want you to go to Europe. I think we'd miss you too much if you left us for Europe. But definitely, man, congratulations, brother. Listen, we all here, everyone in the Philadelphia Union community, everyone that listens to Doop by River podcast, we love hearing you succeed. So absolutely great stuff. So are you still on the Jersey side, or did you cross over to PA?
Yeah. So I got an apartment actually over in the Voorhees Town Center.
Okay.
Where the Echelon Mall, kind of where that was starting to
sir.
So like 5-6 years ago, that whole new center.
Right.
My apartment's actually going to be on the top floor above Iron Hill Brewery. So
that is clutch.
That's clutch, but that's also dangerous.
Yeah.
That's dangerous on my wallet.
Man. We're gonna be recording, and Justin's gonna pull out the growlers, the Iron Hill.
I'm gonna be like, hold on, guys, give me 5 minutes. I just gotta run downstairs.
Well, if anyone knows any connections to Iron Hill, we would love to be their official podcast. Justin, it would be a short walk to the work if we can record out of Iron Hill Brewery. So if anyone has that connect, hit us up if you know what I mean. But congratulations again, Justin. I'm really happy to hear that we got our own place, man. We're moving on up to Voorhees.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, everyone who is hopping on here. What's up, Jason? I hope you're having a great day. And AK Gaming, who is becoming a regular here, man. I love it. What is going on exactly? Guys, definitely shoot on over those comments. A little later on the show, before we dive into the business we need to handle with, we'll allow some people we'll answer some questions if you want to just type in a comment. We'll also allow some people on as well. We'll put the link out around 8 o'clock so you guys can hop on and you can talk to us for a couple minutes and give us any of your questions, your concerns, whatever you want to know about the Philadelphia Union or soccer in general. We are your people here today. But Justin, let's dive into it, shall we?
Let's go.
Let's do it, baby. All right. So for today, to start off, we want to talk about the stadium situation. Obviously, as we all know, Governor Wolf has been busy trying to let people know, we're slowly getting back to normality step by step. And there has been a public capacity change that we've seen over the past couple of weeks. Obviously, we all know the other sports, the Sixers, the Flyers, and the Phillies haven't started their season yet, but they will all be having fans in the stands. I just came back from a Sixers game last night, thoroughly enjoyed my time there. I felt very secure. They're very strict down there. You can't get into the parking lot till 6:30. You can't get into the stadium until 7:00. You really can't wander. You can't hang out. I was lucky enough to just get a 2-minute interview with Adam Booth at halftime, and it was hard enough as that was. But it kind of sucked, but you understand, right? You understand why they do those things. It is a serious time we are living in, guys. And, kudos to the Wells Fargo Center for getting it done. Obviously, Citizens Bank is next. But for us and down in Chester, we've been in this, right? Like last year, we had a couple games where fans were either allowed to be in the field during the MLS is Back tournament. They had fans literally spread out. It didn't even look like 6 feet. It looked like 12 feet. They had them separated on the field. They were literally sitting on the field where the Union play while the Union were down in Orlando playing in that tournament. And then when we got back into action in Pennsylvania, allowed fans in the stands. Well, it wasn't fans in the stands. They were allowing public capacity to be up to 25%. We had fans in the stands at that time as well. And again, outdoor setting, felt very safe. But now it seems as if that there will be a 50% capacity of people all together. But there's a gist, ladies and gentlemen. 50% capacity if we are guaranteed 6 feet of social distancing. So there are some caveats to this, but definitely, last year we had around like 2,100 fans in there, I want to say. Now we can get up to close enough to 8,000, I would say, right?
I'd say given the Unions, the capacity is 19.
Okay.
Given the stadium dimensions and because of the concourses, I don't think you're going to get that 8 to 9. I think you're maybe saying like 5 to 6, which would still be pretty massive, all things considered. And when everyone saw this, it was kind of like, oh my God, like 50%, that could be huge. And our boy JT, always quick on it and clarified and said, yeah, 50% if you can keep 6 feet, proper social distancing. Now, I do wonder if, because there have been some reports, I know that they've been looking at for schools, with the CDC saying that potentially you might not need 6 feet. It might be 3 feet.
Oh, okay.
I know they're still looking at the numbers. Only one study, and I know they've been looking at it because obviously, this with schools and stuff, teachers are reticent to go back without the proper distancing.
Right.
So, depending on how that works, I wonder if the capacity, you might get closer to that 8 to 9 if they figure out whether it doesn't need to be 6 feet and whether it could be 3 feet. That's obviously not going to be right away. So for now, at least for the first couple games, you're definitely going to be seeing like probably around 5 to 6. But hey, that's better than most things. That's huge. And honestly, last year, I didn't feel comfortable going. I didn't know the circumstances, and also, given my health record and given my family's health record, I didn't feel comfortable. But now that my household we're all fully vaccinated.
Very nice.
I'm prepped. I'm getting 2 tickets for both games as a season ticket holder. I believe we get the email starting next week. My dad's been saying,
that's gonna go crazy. You're gonna go.
My dad's been saying like, hey, like he wants to go to the Saprissa game. He's been telling me, like he's and I told him like, yeah, of course we're gonna go. Like he's like, when you get the email, I'm like, well, next week. And so the way that I'm understanding it, based on what I've heard from my rep, is the email is going to go out to season ticket holders next week. Obviously, right now they only have the Saprissa game and the Miami home game.
Right.
So you're going to get, I don't know how many tickets you can order. But you have to order the same amount of tickets for both games.
Right.
So like for me, because I need a second ticket for the first game, I'm going to have to get a second ticket for the next game.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm understanding is they're going to be doing it in blocks. So at the moment, the way, because obviously a lot of people didn't end up going to the games last year, and you had a credit built up from your payments.
That's true. That comes in
so
clutch.
They said you can use that credit and just deduct it off of that credit, and you're still paying off for this year. It's okay. Let's get that going. But no,
right.
I think the team is kind of looking at it and going, okay, like as we kind of figure this out, like let's see how how it's going and how other teams are starting to do it.
Absolutely, man. Real quick, I wanted to just say what's going on to my boy Frankie C. Frankie, what is going on? Hey, Frankie, I know you're not a big soccer guy, but tonight is soccer. It's usually Soccer Tuesdays, but tonight is Soccer Wednesday. Little reschedule here. So, Frankie, when you're ready to get into the New England Revolution, you come talk to us. All right, man. But no, back to what you were saying there, Justin. Look, this is definitely big news. I think that, if you're a Union fan, you know some of the big moments in our club's history. Obviously, for me, I look back at that, the 2019 playoffs, the first game against the Red Bull, and that place, literally, I don't think I've ever felt like that anything in my life at an actual live sporting event. Like that electricity, we got the electricity on the kits now, but we need that electricity in the stands as well. So for me, Justin, I really want to be at that Saprissa game. Like for me, that I was too young for that first playoff game in Union history against Houston. I was too young. I wasn't there for that. I want to be there for the first ever Champions League game for the Union. That is going to be something special. It'll be one of those moments that I'll be telling my kids and my grandkids years down the line. I want to be there for that game. And let's face it, Justin, who's going to talk crap to the Saprissa players? The Union need me, baby. Who's going to talk crap?
I was going to say, come on. As our buddy Alexis Carreras would say, we need to call their play basura.
Shouts to the Cougars. But no, man, you can't just call like the Saprissa, but you can't just be like, yo, Torre, whoever, or no, yo, Watson, you're a bum. Well, Watson will probably understand, but some of these players who played in Costa Rica their whole life, they're not going to understand a lick of English. So that's what I need. That's why I need to be there. So everyone, make sure to let the Union know to make sure Barcelo Philly is in there. But no, in all seriousness, man, I was
going to say, Johnny, we're going to need you. We're going to need some more PG-13 Spanish insults. We're gonna need to tell him that that his mom's cooking sucks. To tell him in Spanish. We're gonna need some to mix it up here.
True. Real quick, funny story. A Houston game 2 years ago. It was we were down, I think 2-1 or 2-0. Manotas was playing for Houston at the time, and Pablo Manotas literally put up, I think, both goals. And I literally, he was walking off at halftime, and I was just telling him, yo, bro, take it easy. I was saying it in Spanish. I was like, yo, bro, take it easy. And the usher did not like it. He took offense to it. He thought I was cursing him out. And I was like, bro, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm Colombian. That's Colombian there. It's all love. I literally wasn't saying anything like that, I wasn't disrespecting him pretty much. He was disrespecting my team, quite frankly. So. But that's when my Spanish sometimes can get me in trouble. But now we'll definitely get down there. But this is definitely a big deal. I mean, people complain about us being in Chester, but there is some benefits of playing down there. Not just the absolutely beautiful sights that you see down there, with the river, the bridge, the atmosphere is incredible. But even stuff like this, down in if we were in South Philly, we wouldn't be able to do this type of stuff. We wouldn't be able to have a 50% capacity probably. If it's possible, if we can get it done, but we probably wouldn't be able to have this if we were in South Philly. So, these are one of those moments where you're just like, all right, I don't mind us playing in Chester. I really don't. So it's definitely good stuff there. Well, like Justin alluded to, so we just talked about the capacity situation. We have some dates, ladies and gentlemen. So we have some dates of when we will see our Union play. Unfortunately, though, we don't have the full schedule. That should be out sometime this week, we would hope, but
whatever.
Who knows?
Like, we keep talking about it's gonna be next week. Like, at some point, like, we're now a month.
What are they doing? What are they waiting
a month
for?
Before the actual season starts? Like, come on.
Yeah, we're trying to plan this stuff out. Like, we're trying to make trips or make accommodations. Some of us have kids. I mean, obviously we don't have kids, but people have to babysit. I know Mike Thomas needs to know this too, so he can plan this out with his wife. So he's got 2 daughters. But no, please, MLS, let's get the schedule out as soon as possible, please. But for right now, Justin, all we do know is our season opener. Man, the MLS scheduling committee did us no favors, Justin. We're going to be playing in Columbus on the 18th, our season opener against the Crew in Columbus at 5:30. Man, Justin, you know our history in Columbus, man. It is not pretty at all, bro.
This is not the Revolution.
Dude, I'm circling that one. That's the first. I'm circling the Red Bull and I'm circling the Revs games. That's what I'm circling right there. And then we'll be in the Soup, like Justin said. That will be on April 24th. That'll be a nice 8:00 game. So depending how April's weather is going to look like, it should be a little chilly night. But I think we all remember last time was in Miami was in Philly, so that should be really fun as well, man. So, what are your thoughts on these two dates here for the Union?
I think it sucks that we have to go to Columbus to start the season. I think the Supporter Shield winners versus the MLS Cup champs. I'm sure they did that on purpose,
right?
So I definitely think that was something they definitely did on purpose, and it was something that was like I looked at the game and I was like, oh, like I'm not worried, but at the same time, like
Columbus looks good too this year, man.
Columbus retooled, like I
think they got better.
They added Kevin Molino, they added BWP, like. Every time it was a player, I'm like, oh, where'd he go? Oh, he's going to Columbus. It's like, what?
And then, and to top that all off, Justin, they get the easiest route in Champions League. They get Real Steli from Nicaragua, and come on, I mean, let's face it, bro. Come on, it's a little easier for them to get that done. And then, of course, we'll see Gonzalo Higuain for part 2. Gonzalo should be ready for that game. That's for sure, man. That is for sure. What is going on, everyone? Absolutely. Gav, let's go Flyers. But please, ladies and gentlemen, it is Soccer Wednesday, so we are recording. Please do not spoil any scores for me. As soon as we're done recording here, I'll be heading over to 2 screens to watch the Sixers and the Flyers play tonight. So we're just unioned up right now. We're all unioned up, that's for sure. Miles Sanders, the GOAT. What's going on, man? Welcome to DOOP by the River. Welcome all. Justin, let's move on to our next discussion here. And I want to discuss our preseason game. Dude, we had preseason or friendly, whatever you guys want to call it, spring training, if that's what you want to call it too, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. They are in Clearwooder.
They are in Florida, yeah.
They're in Clearwooder. I love those T-shirts.
Clearwooder.
Clearwood. You think Bryce Harper is checking out Union friendlies from a distance?
Hey, you never know. He might be peeking under the fence going, hey Brujo, what's up?
Joe Girardi's like, yo, where's Bryce? He's, on the other side of Clearwooder. So look, the thing is like some of the Phillies spring training games, this preseason game for the Union was not televised or streamed anywhere, so none of us could really watch it. We do know that the Union did lose 1-0, but you guys know how preseason works. Starters are not out there for very long, or at least a half. There'll be.
It was like half and half. Like
right,
the first half was more of a starting roster.
Right. So really, what you just want the Union to get their legs under them again, because they're going to be going right into the Champions League against a tough Saprissa squad, so that you really just want to get them ready for this game here, and that's really all we are going to be looking for. Justin, we'll get to what the Union were wearing in a second, but there was a homegrown that caught eyes that people are talking about. Elaborate on that.
So, this game was the game that wasn't on any streaming, although I believe the next couple games
I did hear that.
They were talking it on the website. So
those are always fun, by the way, as well.
The first half was more of a starting roster. I believe it was Andre and net. You had, I think it was Kai on one on the left wing, Jack and Glesnes, and then I thought it might have been Nate. I didn't see who was on the right, and then it was a diamond of El Brujo, Jamiro, Ali, and Tony Fontana, and then up top was Casper and Jack DeVries. Now, from what I was hearing, Jack, the Union had a lot of chances. It came pretty close on a few, and Jack DeVries apparently was catching some eyes from people who were there. And honestly, if that's the case, I'm really happy because I know people were talking about, we need another attacking option. We need scores. We need the blah 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 blah. Not realizing that like Jack really didn't get a ton of time last year because like it was like, okay, let's ride Casper and Sergio, and then Wooten would come off the bench, and it was because like, well, I mean, we're going for a title, like
right.
It was a tough situation, but now you're in it's not a complete rebuild, and I'm gonna say this now, and I know people are gonna give me crap for it, but I don't.
We're here for it. We're here for it.
It's the Union are gonna quote unquote have a regression season. When you finish first in the conference in the Supporters Shield, unless you're winning the MLS Cup, you're gonna have a bit of a dip. And considering that we sold Mark and Brendan, there's going to be a slight dip. And yes, we haven't signed a Brendan replacement, but I'm willing to give Fontana a chance. Not only that, you have Paxton, you have McGlynn, who, from all intents and purposes, Jim has said that they're gonna give these guys some run of games considering the congested schedule. So like I get it, all of it, but at the same time, I can't really, it none of it frustrates me, but it just like, they lost a friendly, which the second half was basically, a completely turned over roster. And like, I don't take a ton of stock in preseason because I remember last year, preseason we didn't do so hot, so it was like, you know what, like it is what it is. But again, that's why I just say, you nothing happens till you play the game, and when they hit the ground running in Columbus, like that's when we'll know.
Hey, you know what? This is what I'm talking about. Listen, I've been a 4-for-4 fan my whole entire life. I started getting in the Union. They win this stupid Supporter Shield, and then they start selling everyone off, and now they freaking stink. This will always be a 4-for-4. No, I'm just kidding, guys. It's crazy because you do see the Philly sport mentality. As much crap as those quote unquote 4-for-4 fans come at us, that mentality's still down in Chester. You get those fans who freak out, we're not signing anyone. So it is what it is. But I agree with Justin. And like the plan that the Union are doing is something that has worked, not in this league, but why can't it work in this league? Flat out. Like this is still soccer at the end of the day. If we take a regret this year, not gonna be entirely mad. We still gotta make the playoffs, and I still think that. That has not failed in the sights of either one of us here. But if we're talking about the Union building this structure where we're developing kids from the area, that's plugging in players from around the world and the holes where we have holes in. Dude, I'm down with it. What if Jack has a breakout year and he's like one of the leading goal scorers on the Union and in the league, and clubs in Europe want to buy him? let's freaking go. More, this is the type of model the Union are trying to build. And guys, like, I do believe we will win a championship. I really do believe we will win a championship. But why not win it like this? Why not? We always talk about in Philly sports, we need the Philly athlete, whatever that freaking means. But literally in Downchester, we have legit Philadelphia area raised athletes. That's all I'm saying. It's great, man. So Owen, who's a great follower on TikTok, wants to know if we will be at the Columbus home opening game. We will. We'll, I mean, listen, Justin and I, we got bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? Justin just got himself a new place. He's got himself a new car. We got bills to pay. It'd be nice if, the boss man at Philly Sports Network could allow us to, pay for our travel over there, but it is what it is. I would love to go to Columbus for that game. But I don't think we will be able to make it there. But soon enough, you will see us in Columbus. And it sucks because I want to see, what's it, Matt Free? How do you pronounce it? I always mess it up. Matt Frey. I've always wanted to go there only because of nostalgia of that actual ground.
They're moving into a new stadium.
Yeah,
soon,
I know. Everyone's excited. That new stadium is going to look really sick. But we'll definitely try to get there one of these days. AK Gaming is giving us a Saprissa update. Justin, they have not been doing well in league so far.
We got to talk to Eddie. See.
Yes,
what's their scouting report on that?
Still waiting on a word from Eddie from Brooklyn, as they call him. But yeah, no, we will definitely somehow give you guys the full breakdown of Saprissa. Obviously, none of us have really watched that much Saprissa, so we want to give you guys the absolute great insight when it comes to that. All right, guys, let's move on here to Matty Freeze. Justin, Matt Freeze ain't going nowhere, man. He has signed a contract extension through 2022 with options for 2023 and another option for 2024. Bro, I am psyched about this. Look, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we love Andre Blake. We adore Mr. Andre Blake. Not many save as much as Andre Blake does, but he's not going to be here forever. And I still think that Matt Freeze is going to take over for Andre when that day comes. He's part of the Olympic squad. They're going to start their qualifiers soon enough. And dude, I'm excited for this. It's a smart move. You want to lock in that guy because I think the Union understand that he's part of the future as well. But what are your thoughts, man, on this Matty Freeze?
This is huge. I mean, Matt Freeze is starting to show why they pulled him from college so quickly. And it's, and the thing is, like, you look at it and you go, okay, he started to show last year why he's, a couple years ago, why he could be the guy. And then last year he started to show why he could be the guy. And listen, Andre ain't going nowhere. If he had the season he had last year, which was definitely a rebound, a complete rebound, like that was something. It was like, okay, this is what was on, 2016 goalkeeper of the year. Andre Blake is back. I mean, Matt Freeze is a good young goalie. He's on the Olympic qualifying roster. He's definitely going to be pushing for that starting job. He's going to be pushing Andre for the starting job. And, it's having a quality young backup because, Andre's in his late 20s, early 30s. Like he's not getting up there, but some goalies can play a long time. That's how the position of goalkeeper is.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like you always want to have that next option available. And you also listen, if Andre wants to still go to Europe, I thought he should have gone a few years ago. I was hoping, obviously not hoping, but I was thinking, okay, I think he should, it was the time of the move. And I think the only reason he didn't go was because, England had that weird thing with the work visas where the country had to be in the FIFA top 50.
Right.
And Jamaica at the time was not in the top 50. So that was a tough move. But, Andre could go anywhere in Europe if he wanted to. And I really think he could in the next few years if that's still what he wants. If he wants to stay in Philly, because he said he loves being here. Like he said it on multiple occasions, and whenever the talk has come up, the move has come up, he goes, "Yeah, there was talk a few years back." He goes, "But I'm in a position I feel comfortable in Philly." He goes, "Obviously, if the right move comes along, yeah, I'll go, but I'm not in a rush. I'm not going to force the move." And honestly, that kind of that it's always nice when a player goes, "If the right move comes along, yeah." And I don't want to force it. Brendan and Mark both said the same thing. They're like, if the right move comes along, obviously, yes, we want to be in Europe, but we're not going to force a move. We're not going to be a massive, a detriment to the squad. And I think that's a lot of the guys you have coming through this roster are guys that want to be here. And obviously, yeah, you might want to do a springboard. They've looked at what Brendan and Mark have done, and they want to emulate that.
Right.
And having a guy like Maddie as the backup is a really good option, because if Andre goes down or Andre's away, that's a huge thing. Like that'd be a massive thing. But then we're going, okay, well now I know that we have a quality backup here.
So let me ask you, what would be a realistic destination for Andre at this rate? AK Gaming just mentioned he's 29 years old. Shouts to you for pointing that out, AK Gaming. What is a realistic move if Andre were to leave after this year, or even middle of this year?
I think he could for a springboard. I could definitely see him going to I was gonna say Belgium or the Netherlands, but I think Belgium is combining with another country.
Really?
There was talks that their leagues were combining, but I could definitely see Andre going to at this point, I'm gonna say a Belgian club, a Dutch club, maybe a lower, not a lower tier, but a lower in the table Spanish or Italian club.
Okay.
Listen, I feel like with goalkeeper, you can really slot them about anywhere. And with Andre's athleticism, I could see, and AK Gaming's right, maybe Ligue 1. There are a lot of teams. After Lille and PSG, there is a kind of a bit of a drop off, but there's Nantes, there's Marseille. There's a lot of teams in there that you could see. Monaco, there's a decent amount of talent there. And if Andre, look at sometimes the way it has been in France, where players have balled out for a couple of years, and then bam, they're getting big money moves somewhere else. So I think he definitely could go to Europe. I don't know when, and that's a big if, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Guys, what we're about to do now, I put the link in the stream there on the comment section. If you guys want to come on, we'll allow people to hop on for no longer than 5 minutes. Again, guys, listen, this is Soccer Wednesday. Keep it soccer based. Union, any soccer question you may have, you guys can definitely hop on, and we would love to ask those questions for you. Jason, and I know you really want to know what I'm watching. Again, it is Soccer Wednesday. We're not watching anything. After this, I will definitely be watching the Flyers and the Sixers. But this is the Philadelphia Union podcast for Philly Sports Network. So tonight it is about the Philadelphia Union. And, we understand that, in America, a lot of people don't get engulfed in the soccer. So we want to be able for you guys to come here. If you have those questions, whatever it may be, anything about soccer, you can definitely come here, and we will answer any of those questions that you may have for sure. For the meantime, I guess, Justin, let's look at some of the news and notes around the MLS. First up, man, very interesting. We talked about it a couple weeks ago as well, but Lucho Costa, talk about it was talks about he was going to come back, or would he come back to DC? But it looks like Cincinnati's getting their man. man, Cincinnati's making a lot of moves. What are your thoughts on Lucho Costa coming back to the MLS?
I mean, I really don't think this is a great move for Cincy. They go from signing a really, I think potentially could be a quality young talent from Brazil, a guy who was apparently being looked at by European clubs and just had to sign with Cincinnati. And then you go and sign Lucho Acosta, who has barely been playing for his club in Liga MX. Like, yeah, I have some questions.
Talk about going downhill.
And the first one is, what the hell are you doing, Jordan Kemp? Like, I honestly can't understand this move.
Right.
It's like I even talked to like a few Cincy fans who are like, this move makes no sense. Like from an attacking mid perspective, I get it, but I mean, listen, when he was in DC, he was really overshadowed by Wayne Rooney. Like he really wasn't. He wasn't the guy doing everything. So I feel like it's tough to have him, coming in and be like, yeah, you're going to be fighting a lot of offense. And it's like, are you really though?
So like, it's going to be the Lucho and Becker show. Is that what I'm getting? Oh, Brainer show in Cincy?
They're going to have to hope so, because I mean, unless they sign any other midfield players, that's basically going to be their offense.
Golly,
that's a lot of pressure to put on a 21-year-old Brazilian kid.
How come we never talk about Cincinnati as one of these terrible sports cities? They are a terrible sports city, my dude.
Listen, there's no lies detected here.
We think we have it bad here in Philly, but there are some war situations out there in the United States. That is for sure, man. Well, you know what, Justin? Speaking of Cincinnati, our first caller here is the biggest Columbus Crew fan that I have definitely come across here. So I'm not sure. We'll give him a second there, but we definitely got to get him on here. But for now, there he is. You ready, Owen? All right. Here, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the number one Columbus Crew fan.
I wish I had my Zardes jersey right now, but don't have it with me. Oh, Jesus Christ!
No worries, man.
Don't have my Zardes jersey with me, but I have my scarf.
Hey, listen, you're definitely representing. We absolutely love that here. Listen, we don't, even if you're a Red Bull fan here, listen, we love
love. Daddy, don't think out of turn here. Come on.
Hey, I love the MLS too much. Well, Owen, first off, man, what's going on, man? How's your day going? First off,
I'm doing pretty good. I had some school, but mostly just been playing some video games. Basically, just 2K the entire day.
Oh, I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. So, what do you want to talk about here today on DOOP by the River?
I was wondering who you guys think will win the wooden spoon this year.
That's always a great.
Since you go 3 in a row,
I think they've done enough to where they're not gonna be a complete laughingstock. Like, I mean, in the East, that does feel kind of hard, considering how easy it's felt. Honestly, yeah, my normal pick would definitely be Cincinnati, but I mean, looking at last year's standings, I wonder if I don't know if DC is gonna move up. Like, it's gonna be really tough. DC is my maybe. The only other one I think
this year.
The only thing I think might be Montreal. I feel like Montreal, considering, I mean, they weren't in a terribly good state when Henry left, and now that he's left, and them and Toronto are going to be playing in Florida basically the whole time, at least for a good half of the season. I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, it feels like a lot of the East has gotten better, and there's some teams I'm looking at NYCFC, the Red Bulls, Montreal, Chicago. Like, there's some teams that I don't feel like have really gotten any better. I mean, hell, Ronnie Dyler, NYCFC coach, said it best. Like, he's like, we need players. And he's like, he shouldn't sugarcoat it. They need the players. I feel like it's going to be one of the only teams I think maybe in that finished top 4 last year that might slip out might be Toronto. I think it's going to be a Columbus, Orlando, Philly, and then throw in maybe if Atlanta comes back up.
Right. Otherwise, Orlando have only been good for like 1 year, and besides that, they've been horrible. I think it might be a fluke year, or they might stay. I don't know, but I'm kind of leaning towards a fluke.
I'm a big, not just because I'm Colombian, but I'm a big believer in Oscar Pareja. I mean, just the fact that he pretty much, it was a lot of the same players, right, last year, and he was able to do what he did with them. That was pretty incredible. But I agree with Justin. I don't believe in Montreal whatsoever. I mean, I think losing Henry was big loss. I mean, I didn't think that squad was good to begin with. I thought Henry was going to get the most out of it, but I don't know anything about this new guy. So I think I would have to agree with Justin and go with Montreal. But that was a good question, though, and I didn't really expect that one.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that too much.
So all right. So before we let you go, man, Owen, who's gonna win the season opener?
Well, I gotta say Crew. I mean, one of our last games at Mapfree as well.
So wait, you guys are moving into the stadium this year?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Okay.
We're only playing like 4 or 5 games at Mapfree, and then we're moving.
Wow, that's real. I did not expect that. I thought you were gonna have one more year there. Oh my God, that's gonna be an emotional game. That last game there.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're just turning it into like a sports complex. I'm not sure.
But that's definitely
I'm pretty
cool.
sure they're getting rid of like the top row of stands as well.
Okay, that's so cool because it was the first soccer specific stadium, right?
It was the first one.
To see it, go, it definitely will always hold its place, not just in MLS history, but like U.S. soccer.
Well, I mean, yeah,
it was a fortress for the national team as well.
Yeah,
speaking of the national team,
basically
Yunus Munsa committed there, which is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, the fact that Joseph was basically born there, and I mean, one of the most iconic photos, in early MLS history has to be the Mapfre scoreboard on fire.
Oh my God!
Before a game, like
that was the first game Anthony Precourt ever went to when he owned the team. As well.
Yeah, like if you're not really a true MLS fan until you've seen that iconic image of all the players just staring up as the flames just erupt out of a scoreboard. That's like a few years ago at the Union game when the car was on fire on the on-ramp behind the stadium, and you're like, does everyone see this? Like,
should we keep playing a game?
Like, a lot of things, just early U.S. soccer, I mean, like, early 2000s and stuff, like the Rochester Raging Rhinos were the only team. They won the U.S. Open Cup at Mapfree, and they're the only team since the MLS was created that isn't an MLS team that won the Open Cup. So
that's pretty crazy, man. That is pretty crazy. Oh, and listen, man, I really appreciate all the support you have given me, man. It really, truly means the world to me. I'm sure we'll catch up soon enough, but thank you so much for joining on for a couple minutes there, man.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. See you, Owen.
All right. See you guys.
That's it. Awesome stuff. Oh, good kid. Good kid. I like that kid. All right. So we have a question here in the comments. Very interesting, and this is close to our hearts here. How do you feel about the Union's midfield and, I guess, offense/attack for this season, Justin?
It's cautious optimism. And the reason I say cautious is because I know that you can get a lot out of Casper, and I know there's more. I know Sergio is out for a few weeks with the injury. Corey, I mean, you saw what you got out of Corey out of just a small sample size. When he comes, fullback, I feel like he's gonna be raring to go. Jack DeVries, I mean, from what we've seen in one game, I'm already excited. The midfield is a question because I really don't think Ollie should be playing the amount of games he did last year. I really think in an early 30s, I think you need to give that guy a rest because he's going to give you all he can. But even and he's not going to say, man, coach, I need a rest. Like he's one of those guys that goes, he's going to play, he's going to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. And you have these young guys. You have Fontana, you have a Paxton, you have a McGlynn, you have a Brendan Craig, Quinn Sullivan, Cole Turner. Like you have all these young guys in a midfield where obviously El Brujo is going to play a lot of games. Like, do you put Orr as a backup? Jamiro, okay. Do you put Paxton do you put McGlynn on the other side? Like, there's a lot of rotation that could be had, and Jim has said there's going to be a lot of rotation. He's also said, listen, we may not sign a player before the season starts, but I know we'll sign a player this season. Like, we still need maybe 1 to 2 players. He goes, but I'm still also so comfortable with the roster we have. So, to be honest, yeah, I like I said, cautious optimism is the word I would use for the midfield and offense this season.
No, I agree with you, man. I do. Listen. We won the Supporters Shield last season, and I don't think that. Oh man, the homegrown is here. The homegrown is here. Yo, Kyle, come on. Here, look, Kyle. Kyle, head to the.
We love our union. Love our union. Happy hour homegrowns.
Absolutely. Kyle, head to that link I just pasted in the comments there, and we would love to hear you cop on for a couple minutes, man. So come on in here. But now look, this midfield, I like it. The issue for me is the depth. That is the issue with me. Look, I keep hearing the Paxton stuff for the past 2 years, and I'm not saying it's a fluke. I think he's legit, but my concern is he ready? Is he ready for these serious minutes? This is the MLS. This isn't, USL. This is a little bit different here. So that's my only question. I would feel better if we brought in a young kid that was cheap, who has that potential, and that would add some depth into the midfield. But I agree with you. I do think that the Diamond's going to be Font at the 10, Miro and Ali as your shuttles, and then you have El Brujo as that 6. So I do feel good about that. But what happens when you get into the latter parts of the season, and guys go down and whatnot? That is when I start getting concerned. But without further ado, Justin, we gotta introduce to the world Kyle, the homegrown. Kyle, what? It is so good to see you, brother. It's almost been a year since I've seen you. When we were at Sons of Quarantine. We were the Sons of Quarantine, hanging out, watching, I guess, the Inter Miami game. I forget what it was. Well, Kyle, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
It has been a while, man. I'm doing very good. How about you, man?
I'm blessed, brother. You know me. I cannot complain. And he's got the Ben Simmons jersey on. He's my brother. Close to home. Here. We'll change it up here. Just because Kyle's on. Excuse the hair, ladies and gentlemen. I'm always prepared here. I got my Union, I got my Phillies, I got it all here. Sir, Kyle, so listen, we haven't talked in a while, man. What's your thoughts on the club, brother? How are you feeling? Are you worried as well?
I'm very optimistic, as I usually like to be.
Good.
But I do have my worries. Obviously, with Brendan and Mark gone, I'm more worried about the missing of Aronson. Obviously, right. He's been a big part of the team, and I don't really know how the game against Orlando went the other day, but obviously it's going to be a huge loss for us in the midfield.
Yeah, man. I guess that's the question. Is we have to flip the chapter, move on to the next era of Union soccer. Brandon and Mark will always have their place here within the Philadelphia Union, but it's now how do you bounce back from that? How do you find the next Brandon? How do you find the next Mark McKenzie? I do think that those players are on this current squad, but those are definitely the questions here, man. Do you feel like we'll get a signing in before the season?
At this rate, I think it'll be a miracle if we get a signing. We haven't. We've been very, very quiet, and it kind of scares me. But
Justin, I have to ask you because the Marco Fabian signing was pretty close this season. How close was it?
That was, I want to say the official announcement of that was like, what, within like through 2-3 weeks of the season starting? Because that season, that team event was like early to mid-February.
Okay.
And then the season started in early March. So yeah, it was it was less than a month. So I mean, we could, but again, the difference is the Union also play a game earlier than earlier than they would in a normal season.
So much. If we're gonna get a signing, it's gonna happen this week, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You would hope.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. I don't feel too confident about it. But the thing is that we're not an incomplete team. That's the beauty of it. It's just more so for depth is the issue because, we're going into the season. You got Champions League. Then you got to go right into the season. We just talked about it. We're opening up against Columbus in Columbus where, we don't usually do so well there. And then we got to open up against Miami. Like, look, we had their number last year, but we don't know how Miami – listen, Neville could come out and actually know what the hell he's doing this time and actually coach up a good Miami. I know Justin is not buying any bits and parts of that, but it could happen. But, it definitely is some good like tests for the Union right off the bat there, man. Kyle, I would love, we're going to be on here for about another 10 minutes. I would love for you to hang out with us for a little bit. So here's another good question here. AK Gaming, keep them coming, man. I love these questions you always bring to us, man. Which MLS will flop or have a bad season? That's a good question.
I'm see in MLS.
I'm trying to think myself.
Can I just say? I think Luciano Acosta will have a bad season, and I think the offense will rely. They'll have to rely on Brenner, and then they're gonna if Acosta's playing bad, they're gonna, they're gonna have to actually play Frankie Amaya at the 10, like what he wants to. Like I feel like, again, he wasn't terribly great in DC. He wasn't getting any time down for his club in Mexico. Like at this point, unless they go and splash another, F ton of cash for Pitti,
right?
I feel like there's not a whole lot that I feel confident on. So yeah, Acosta's actually, we talked about it. Acosta's definitely my answer for that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb. And here's the thing: is there hasn't been big signings this offseason. Like there was no Chicharito or anything like Pity Martinez. There was nothing really like that this year. So I think what I'm gonna say, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go Josef Martinez.
Really? You think
it's a gamble? It's a gamble.
Coming back from the injury, he's not going to be hungry for some goals?
That's the question. What's he going to look like off that injury? He missed a whole year.
They were saying he might be looking a little. Someone said he looked a little thick.
Who? Oh, he's looking a little chunkier. You're saying?
I don't know if a chunk or muscle, but he's looking a little thick.
Like, are we talking like James Harden chunk?
I don't think James Harden chunk. I think that's a new level of chunk.
That's the thing. Like this time last year, like I was saying, Chicharito is going to be that flop. Like I just think that he's going to come in here thinking that this is going to be an easy league. And look, I was right. And this year, it's hard. Like there's really hasn't been. What's his name? Brenner. I could see that being a flop. But I think the fact that he's young, that's on his side. But Josef, people are high on Atlanta. Like remember last week, Justin, we had Kevin Acosta, and he was high on Atlanta. And their season really comes on Josef Martinez on how he returns, because that's where all their goal scoring was coming from before he got hurt, pretty much. So,
that one might be different considering that they do have Heinze, who is a South American coach, gets back. I think he might get back to that style of play that they were they got them so great with Josef and Almiron. So I don't think they'll be as bad, but I don't know if they're going to be peak Atlanta what they were.
Okay. I'm so sorry to Jeremy. I think I just I'm so sorry. No, listen, all love. Josef Martinez he's definitely going to be one of my favorite, all said and done, one of my favorite players that I've watched in the MLS, even as a Union fan. But I don't know. It's really question mark for me. Like, what's he going to look like? And a lot of what Atlanta's going to do this year is going to come on how Josef Martinez looks returning back. But appreciate the support, Jeremy, and you Let's Go Union. That definitely resonated a lot with me here. So Justin, our boy, Mr. Zach Lubo. So Zach, first off, man, keep killing it, my brother. If people don't know, Zach is our brand new Union writer. He's almost been here for a month now.
He's been checking out some good content.
Yes, sir.
I've been seeing his articles.
Guys, make sure you guys check his articles out. They are really freaking good, very insightful for all my Union fans out there. But he wants to know, will Brendan start either game for Team USA in these friendlies? With Jamaica, and who's the other one?
Northern Ireland.
Gotcha.
So I've been listening to, I listen to a lot to soccer pods,
right?
Throughout the day when I go on my walks.
Very nice.
And I think he gets in at least one game. I think, given the way, I think you don't have any Weston McKennie. I believe he has an injury. I know Gio Reyna. I know some of the players in German clubs were afraid to release their players, given the heightened that there's been an increase in cases in Europe and that they've been a little heightened. So I think Brendan would be in the midfield. I think that midfield, however you're going to play it, I think at least two of the three, because basically the way that U.S. has been playing has been a 4-3-3. So in that midfield three, I think at least two of them could potentially be like Brendan and Yunus Musa.
Right.
Or you could have one and starting one game and one in the other. I think regardless, I think he's going to be playing. He wouldn't have been obviously, yeah, he's a European player now.
Right.
So it's easier for him to be there. But I really don't think you would have called him in if you weren't at least going to give him some time.
I think he deserves it.
He's been on fire lately. I think that's why he's been called in. He's just been on fire.
Yeah, man. Kyle, what do you think? You think he's going to start?
I think because there was a lot of players that are going to be departing after that first game. So I think in that second game, he'll definitely get that start. He's been killing it lately, so I don't see why he wouldn't start, really.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Listen, I always want to see my Union players start for the U.S. men's national or any national team for that matter. But I think with the form that Brendan's been on, if you're Berhalter, you got to check it out. You got to see what you have with Brandon Aronson. He could be the answer for you for the Team USA. So definitely check it out, Mr. Berhalter, for sure. I don't think Pepito will be that good this year. And this is Owen, who's the big Columbus Crew fan. He's not buying Federico Higuain down in Miami this year. So interesting. Here's a good question here, guys. Think of Austin FC this year.
That's a really good question because a lot of their signings have been, it's been a lot of MLS players, a lot of MLS quote unquote retreads, like Diego Fagundes and Matt Besler. It's like, I don't know. I'm not I don't know how to feel about that team because Josh Wolf seems like a decent coach, but
right.
I don't know what to make of them. I really don't. There hasn't been hype one way or the other. It's just kind of been Austin FC's here. They
just signed a player today too, no? Alexandru Martin. Oh wait, no. That was Columbus. Never mind. Oh, Zan Kolmanek? No, that's not a sign. That's a call up. He got called up for the U21s in Europe there. But I just it's tough when you're in your first year, a bunch of guys, right, with their expansion drafts, your signings. It's like a mesh of different players you just throw together. They haven't really played together a lot. there's some cool pieces, I guess. Obviously Ben Sweat, Alexander Ring is on there. They have Pochettino. Is that it? Yeah. It's the same spelling too. We talked about him as well, the DP signing for them. It's surprising they got Sebastian Berhalter in Austin. That was very surprising as well. Hey, look, it's some nice pieces. I just don't. It's not really much difference makers. They are in the West, correct? They will be in the the Western
Yeah.
Conference there. So I mean, like when I look over at the West, I mean it's always been a tough conference. I don't see them being better than LAFC, Portland, Seattle. Heck, I don't even think they'll be better than RSL or San Jose or SKC for that matter. So I do think that they will be looking outside when it comes playoff time. What do you think, Kyle? What do you think about this Austin team?
I feel like they're gonna have thinking an average, but I think less than average. Honestly, I don't
agree,
see
man.
it coming together this season.
I
feel like
100%
it's going to take
agree.
a little bit of time.
Absolutely, man. You were right, Justin. Belgium and Netherlands are thinking of merging. So
yeah, I knew I had heard that, and there's a lot of people saying it, like what it will do to the game, and so it set a bad precedent. And I mean, I think like two country leagues might, with some countries, if it's not sustainable for them to have their own leagues, it might be worth it. Like it's but we'll see. I know there have been talks about it, but that's all I've heard.
Okay, gotcha. All right, one more question before we sign off here. So Jeremy, another great question. What do we? Oh, well, that'll be in 2 years.
I was gonna say that's not gonna, because they won't play next season.
Okay, here we go. Here's a good one. Do you expect Orvich to get playing time this season?
I'm gonna go yes. I think you need to, given everything going on. I really think you need to. Oh,
better late than never, Mom. First off,
sorry.
No. Don't even apologize, Jared. Dude, it is always an honor to be in your presence, my brother. How are you doing, man?
I am exhausted. It was a long day at work. I sent out some hoodies today, so it's been a very full day.
Is that what you're wearing? Is this
This is the Union hoodie.
Oh, okay. Did you get that from the kit launch?
Yeah.
Is that? I can see the color. That's pretty sick. So
Yeah.
for our. Hey, we get a strip show from Jared too. Hey now.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the blue one, it says "Join or Die" at the bottom.
Dude, we really don't deserve the Philadelphia Union, man.
No.
We really don't.
No, the hoodies that I sent out were the happy hour hoodies.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so if you don't know, Jared is co-founder and pretty much runs the Our Union. It's a group that meets up every Friday. So if you guys ever are interested, make sure you follow at Our Union, just like that. And he sends out a link every week. Justin and Kyle are usually there. I definitely have to make it there. I have to make some time on a Friday night. Friday nights are usually tough for me, but I definitely got to mix because guys, pretty much, what's it now? Hour, 2 hours?
5 hours.
5 hours. All night long.
Yeah.
All night long.
Yeah.
It's whenever people sign off.
Yes.
Yeah, but the link is available right now. So if you go to on the Happy Hour account and like the tweet that I put out this morning, where I said today was Friday instead of Wednesday because I sent it out at 7 a.m. and I was very tired. But yeah, if you go like the tweet, I have the link readily available and we'll send it over to you.
Yeah, so I put it in the comments, guys. So I mean, I've brought on Atlanta fans on there. Listen, if you're a soccer fan, they will definitely be more than happy to have you on there. It's a lot of Union fans, but look, we understand what this community is about, so we welcome all. So yes, Justin, even if you're a Red Bulls fan, if you're willing to play nice,
we had Red Bulls fans.
Have the guy
There you go.
from Post and Pints. He was
there you go. We definitely got to talk to those guys. But yeah, so Jared pretty much runs all that, and he does a fantastic job of doing it. Through Our Union, he's been able to come up with fundraisers to give back to the community. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're all about. AK Gaming, yes, Chicago fans are allowed on there. So if you are a Fire fan, you can definitely hop on there and hang out. It's just a place to hang out. When it comes to MLS, people, a lot of times we get shunned on, but we have each other and we're growing. And we welcome everyone. That's the beauty about it. And it's people like Jared that just keeps this going, man. Absolutely, brother. So what's next for Our Union? How's it been so far?
It's been good. I mean, things have been winding down a little bit, because, like we're in the off season right now, so we haven't had, like as many, I would say during the peak of the season, like we would sometimes get up to like, I don't know, like 35 to 40 people, a night. Like that was like the higher end. Right now we're averaging about, between like 12 and 20, but it's still a good time. But yeah, I haven't really tried to go after any big guests recently. I know I tried to get Danny Higginbotham. I tried to get Finley.
Okay.
I think Higginbotham responded, but like it didn't work the one time, and then I never got in touch with him. And then of course, Finley didn't respond because he's just too big time for us, and that's okay. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's next because I'm still trying to figure out what to do with it because at some point like we're not going to have a need to gather virtually, and that's the whole reason we have this. It can be like, well, what do I do with this thing that's not really I have a need for anymore? So I don't know. We'll kind of see. Contemplating doing a second jersey.
Okay.
The first one was such a hit. So I think it'd be fun to do kind of like a secondary kit. And still tossing around the idea of doing scarves. I think I'm gonna do something pretty cool with that. Like, I mean, I got the jersey, I got the hoodie, I got this. Might as well go full with the scarf, right?
No, I mean that's like an easy way. Like, I remember when I had my first apartment when I started DOOP by the river, I had that brick wall. If you guys remember, I had that brick wall behind me. I just put some hooks and I threw my scarves on there. It's definitely great, especially if you're getting the soccer. It's a great way to get engulfed into the community and just the way we are as fans. Scarves is a big thing when it comes.
Actually, that might be good for me to set up a background for my new place.
There you go. Yeah, start thinking about it, man. Definitely start thinking about it.
Yeah, my background right now is a little weak, but upstairs is a completely different story. It's all decked out there.
It's all good. It is all good. Well, hey, Jared, I do appreciate you. Listen, we got you on here for a couple minutes, but it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for coming on in here. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, we are at an hour and 7 minutes. Thank you. Listen, this was a fun episode. I really love you guys interacting with us and hopping on, asking your questions. I know we didn't get to a lot of questions, but definitely make sure to save those and come back on next week. We'll try to get whoever didn't get on this week, we'll try to get on next week for sure. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Jared. That is Justin Fry, Barceto Philly, and we are telling you guys to do. Talk to you guys soon.